Oh, what is up, YouTube? Jonusfatson back. Look, I took some notes on the Sony presser, but then I went out for a bunch of drinks. So I'm doing this one maybe a little bit drunk, but that's fine. This is my thoughts on the Sony E3 presser 2017. What came up first? UC Lost Odyssey. This is Uncharted Lost Odyssey. This is what they opened the show with after, what is his name? Sean Layton? Where are we? I have so many notes. Why do I have so many notes? Sean something came out on the screen, did an intro. It seemed fine. It's a co-op Uncharted game. It looks like it's going to be okay. Naughty Dog usually delivers on their Uncharted goodness, so thumbs up on that one. What was next? Oh, a Horizon DLC, Frozen Wilds. Not really a surprising announcement. It looks decent, but not a lot of info was presented, other than like maybe there's some new stuff coming. We'll see. I didn't really play Horizon Zero Dawn, so I don't know. If you have it, you'll probably get the DLC anyway. Days Gone. Holy shit! QuickTime events made a comeback. The characters hit the uncanny valley on this. They when they zoomed in on the face, this part of the face, it was pretty clear that it was computer graphics. Don't zoom in on the face. If you're not 100% confident in what the faces look like, it's really easy to see it's not supposed to look like that. It feels like The Last of Us meets the God of War meets Heavy Rain. I was glad to see it. I mean, I'll kind of touch on this a little bit more, but there was a lot of stuff that they didn't touch on that they did teasers of last year that I was hoping to see more of here. It looks like a short game. Just gonna call that right now. It looks like maybe like a 15-hour game. I don't know if it's gonna be longer, but that's what it feels like to me. There we go. Then I had a question of like, what pin did that Sean Layton wear? I don't know if it's Layton. What pin was he wearing? He had like a red diamond pin on his like lapel, and I didn't know what it was. Then apparently I thought the intro was fine, but they didn't announce anything on it, which was bullshit. Then they showed Monster Hunter Worlds. I actually originally thought it was maybe Turok. It's another Ark kind of game, like a third-person survivalistic dinosaur kind of game. It felt like maybe it was a little bit piggybacking off of the Horizon Zero Dawn stuff from last year that did really well. What the fuck was with the T-Rex nose that came up blah blah out of nowhere, and it was like, what the shit is that? I thought, oddly enough, the music that was played on there felt like Square Enix music, but it wasn't. Also, is it an MMO? I mean, it is, but I put a question mark here, right here. You can see a question mark right there, and I put down an meh. I was like, all right, well, cool. I like the Monster Hunter universe. I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy this one. It was fine. Then they introduced, or the transition to Eco and Shadow of the Colossus remakes again for like what, the 5th time that we've seen this. Look, I can't keep buying these games. Eventually I'm going to get kind of bored playing them, and I think I'm at that point right now. I played them enough, and I even put here, looks good but not new. I think the next one was Marvel vs. Capcom 4. I was taking notes. I don't know if it's an actual Marvel vs. Capcom like fighting game, but They're definitely crushing on like love crushing on Guardians of the Galaxy, and kind of taking off some of the love that people have for that franchise right now. And it looks decent. I don't know if it's going to be anything amazing. Then we had Call of Duty World War II. Is it weird to people that like the World War II stuff for Call of Duty is new? Because it's not new. That's where the series started. It was originally Call of Duty. It wasn't called. The original Call of Duty was World War II. It was weird. I put down silly names. I don't know why they called it Call of Duty World War II. That's going to get confusing, because if I go, hey, did you see the Call of Duty World War II? And you're going to go, yeah, I fucking played it on the PS2 back in the day. And you're going to go, no, not that World War II, the new one. You're going to go, well, we already played that game. What the hell? Why would I play it again? Stupid name. The Call of Duty presser on the last year was much better because people didn't know it was Call of Duty. They went, holy shit. This is not a Call of Duty game. This one that they just released, or not just released, but released a trailer, is definitely a Call of Duty game. Then they showed a PSVR game in a fantasy realm, and it was pretty obvious that it was Skyrim. And another fucking Skyrim video. Like, we get it. Like, I don't need more Skyrim. Like, there's enough. Like, I can get Skyrim on everything. I think there's probably like an NES ROM out there of Skyrim at this point. I don't need it. I have it. I played it. I didn't think it was the best Elder Scrolls, truth be told. But now it's on fucking everything, for that matter. Didn't Bethesda release the same fucking trailer? Star Child. It looks like Limbo in space. It looks promising. I'm going to say I kind of like those style of games. The survivalistic 2D platform games could be good. Thumbs up for that one. The Impatient, made by Supermassive, looks like a horror VR game. They didn't really release much details on it, so I don't know really what it's going to be, but it looks like it could be good. It kind of looks like the doctor from Arkham Asylum is in the game. Was it Arkham Asylum? Arkham Asylum or City? I think it was City. But it kind of talks to you, kind of like what happens with Batman after you die. But it looks like it could be a good game. I'm all for VR horror games, so do that. Next, they released a Final Fantasy fishing game. What? I think at this point, maybe we're running. Look, look, you can see it here. I have Kefka on my arm as a tattoo. I love Final Fantasy. I live and breathe it. But why is there a fishing game on its own for Final Fantasy? Is that warranted? That's what I need to know. Is it a full title? Probably. It's probably going to be like a $30, $39, $49 title, and I don't think it's worth it. Excuse me. I'm fucking drunk. Maybe it's free. I don't know if it's free. Another Supermassive game came up, another VR game, and it was Bravo Team. It looks okay. It looks like a standard shooter. Another VR game. Sony really kind of kept it, not necessarily on point, but they were focusing on the VR. I just got to say one thing, at least one plus for the conference. They didn't say the stupid exclusive world premiere over and over and over throughout each individual trailer. They were releasing game after game after game after game. It just happens that the games were not really that exciting after each individual one. It was like meh, 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 hey, meh. That was kind of where I was at this point in the conference. Next up was Moss from Polyair. I don't know if that's true. It's a cute mouse game. It's a third-person VR game. I don't know how that's going to work. It looks like a good game. I'm all in for the character design on it. It kind of looks like, what's the name of that thing? There was a comic book with like Mouse, it was called. It doesn't really look like that, but I can get behind it if it's a solid platform or third-person action kind of game. I can get behind it. Next, they led up to the God of War 4. I don't know if it was like gameplay, because it wasn't really. It was sort of gameplay, but not really. The crowd seemed to love it. It was like there were some nice nods to the past God of War that existed. There was like clay pots that showed Kratos in his old scene, and I still think Kratos looks pretty badass. Like he's got the beard, he's got the kid, he's rocking it. Kratos is a badass. He's like probably the biggest badass in gaming right now. It looked fine. What we got here? It was interesting that I kind of like pulled the axe to him, and I think maybe you kill Thor at some point in the game. I don't know. Maybe you get like the Mjolnir ability where you can go and get the kind of axe into where you need it to be. Although it was a hammer versus an axe, kind of whatever. It doesn't really matter. Maybe not. I'll definitely play it. I'll probably love it. Should be good. Hopefully they don't tear with my emotions. Although I think I'm gonna call it right now. I think they kill off Kratos in the game, and his kid becomes like the new God of War somehow. It's gonna happen. Beyond Human, I think Detroit or Beyond Detroit. I can't remember the name of the game specifically. Wait. Got my pages all wrong. It's definitely a Quantum Dreams, I think the developer. It definitely looks and feels like a Quantum Dreams game. They love their graphics, man. Like they zoomed in, they were showing some stuff in there, and I just got the uncanny valley again when they like zoomed in on the face, and I was like, it's not real. Like, you think it's real, but it's not real. It's close. Close is not good enough. Close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades. We're not playing either. Also, there's like a lot of snow at the Sony conference. It looked like maybe at one point they were like not playing, but like shooting snow down from the top. And it was a little weird, but I don't really get it. There was a focus on like this new character named Marcus. I don't know if I really buy into this Marcus character as a main character. There's a lot of other games that run that archetype of a character, and I'm not really feeling the game so much. I felt it more at the end of last year than this year. Apparently it's like the third playable character in the game. I also thought it was cooler that the androids before looked kind of all the same. It kind of like led a little bit more of a unified or unique. That doesn't make sense. But if the androids were all unified, and then you had like this one unique character that looked sort of the same but different than all the rest, I like the look of that more than how every single one is different. I don't know. That's the way I look at it. They showed like different options in the stories that you could do. You could like duck and cover, you could run away, you could fight, etc. I just hope it maybe impacts the story at some point, at least anyway. I don't know if it will. I got the impression that it was like slight changes to the story, but not necessarily like overarching kind of big story changes that would occur. I hope it's not true. And maybe the Jennifer Lawrence money ran out, and that's why we didn't really see much. Just a thought. I don't know if she's still going to be in the main game or not, but There wasn't really feeling it. Next up was Destiny 2. Least surprising reveal ever, because they announced it like 2 weeks ago or longer. It was a teaser trailer. It looks okay. There's a bunch of exclusive content for the Sony stuff, but not enough to necessarily buy a PlayStation just for that. There was like a strike, which just basically a mission or a PvP map. Cool. And then Sean Layton, I think I had the name right, came out and said, oh, we have an exclusive game. You're only going to find it on the PlayStation. And everybody went, oh, I wonder what it is. And nobody said that. They all went, oh, okay, it's Spider-Man. Here comes Spider-Man. They brought out like a weird second screen on there, but it acted just like a normal screen. I didn't really understand that. And it looks good. It kind of looks like Metal Gear Solid Spider-Man, but the combat looks good. It looked like it was fun to play, like you were playing like an actual Spider-Man. And the environmental stuff where you could like take the barrel and like across the screen and go, oh, I want to take that barrel and go across, and then like hit him with them, like wah, 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 whack. And that was cool. I appreciated that. It fits. It fit the theme of the superhero genre well. I'm concerned that how much of the gameplay was QuickTime events and how much of the gameplay was cutscenes through the thing. Like they showed a crane kind of going ooh slowly, and then it was Peter Parker, which they did say it was Peter in the trailer or in the video, running across, and then you just get a QuickTime event where you hit X to save the crane, and then you hit triangle, save the crane, etc., etc. It might work, it may not work, I'm not too sure. They do seem better than average QuickTime events. Like if you think back to like Resident Evil 4, where the boulder comes down and goes boom, 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 and you have like half a second to hit your L2 R2 or L2 R1 or whatever it is that you were trying to hit. It looks like it's maybe better than the average QuickTime event, but at the end of the day, it's still a QuickTime event. And then the closing, the closing was kind of, I don't even think it was it. I actually made a note, like, was that it? And I felt like I left the conference, like I watched it, and I sat right here because I was watching on my laptop, and I went, where's the rest of it? Where's all the good stuff? There was no Last of Us 2. There was no Final Fantasy VII remake details, which, if you remember from last year, fucking got like the crowd pumped all the shit. There were people rocking diamond hard fucking hard-ons when they announced that, but they didn't show anything on it. And I was expecting a VR price drop, or at least a pro price drop, and it didn't get either. I was disappointed in that. I wanted a VR price drop at least by like maybe $100. I think it's fair. It's been out for over a year now, and year and a half, I think, at this point. And I was disappointed with that. Overall, I felt like the overall presser was a little bland, to be honest. Like it felt like they were maybe disconnected with where their fans and where they were, especially compared to last year. And I think that's the biggest disappointment. So last year, Sony came out and, bar none, they dominated the conference. They came out and said, like, this is the shit we're doing. Bam, 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 bam. And we went, oh, and it was amazing. Microsoft came out this year and was like, oh, people want to hear about games at E3. What a crazy concept. Let's show them games. And I don't think Sony, for sure, Sony did not beat Microsoft this E3. There was basically 2 games on there that I was excited for, and if that, like, I don't want another Eco Shadow of the Colossus remake. I have it enough times. I've played it enough times. Cool. Make Shadow of the Colossus 2. Make Eco 2. I would appreciate that more, but make something new. And it's going to be fucking like 20 years before they come up with a new thing, because The Last Guardian took forever. So it's not going to be any different. God of War 4, that was already announced last year, and they didn't, like, they showed some, not enough to necessarily get me like super stoked on the game, but enough that I'll probably still pick it up. Like, I'll be honest with you. I love the God of War franchise, but overall Sony just, I think, maybe just missed the mark a little bit in terms of where they needed to go for their conference. It felt like Sony has not a bad habit, but the reason that the PlayStation 3 did, by all accounts at a launch anyway, failed, was because Sony went, hey, we're number one right now. They have the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 1, and at that point, I think the PS2 is still the number one selling console in gaming history. Citations are required there, but then they came in and the PlayStation 3 came out and they went, well, we're going to do like the cell process. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's relevant. They got a little bit big-headed, and I have a big head. I know when I see big-headed people, you trust me on this, it feels like maybe they were like, well, last year we did really well by just showing a bunch of games without necessarily realizing that the games that they showed last year were much, much better than the games they showed this year. I'm still going to pick up Spider-Man. I'm still going to pick up God of War 4. But I didn't really feel it. I don't really need the PlayStation VR at this point. Without the price drop, I still don't have it, and I don't know if I will pick it up. I was really hoping that they would announce a price drop at least on that, or at least maybe a new bundle. I don't know, maybe Worlds 2, PSVR Worlds 2. That's what they could have done, and they didn't. But I struggled with where to rate the Sony conference, because I know that I rated Microsoft like a B or a B minus, Bethesda like a C plus or a C minus, and Ubisoft like a B plus. So did I like this more than the Bethesda conference? Yes. I think I would prefer to take like little bamboo shoots and shove them into my nail. That's how bad their conference was. So I don't know, maybe like a C plus. Does that make sense? Or maybe like a B minus as well, like very similar to Microsoft, and maybe I'll bump up Microsoft to a B and Ubisoft or whatever to a B plus. I don't know. I'm also not tracking this at all, and it's really completely arbitrary. Maybe, yeah, like a C plus. Sony, you kind of missed the mark on this one. Like not like a lot, but enough. Like you still passed the grade, but at the same point, like I expected more from you based on last year's preference and like years before prior. So C plus. That's it. Sure. So far, I think I have Ubisoft ranked the highest, which is just weird. That can't be right. But if that's the case, that's the case. That's how I do it. Apologies on the rambling on this one, but that's where we're at. Sony, do better next year. Do better at Tokyo Game Show. Show some actual fucking games. That's what we want to see. And show games that people care about. That's what we want to see. If you like what you saw, feel free to give me a like and a sub. It means the world to me. I can also be found on Twitter, twitter.com/Jonusfatson, or twitch.tv/Jonusfatson, twitch.tv.com/EA/Ubisoft, whatever. Just search Jonusfatson, you'll find me. I'll see you after the next presser, which is going to be... One second. It's going to be Nintendo. That is on Tuesday and bright and early. So we'll tune into that. We'll check it out. The Nintendo conferences usually are very, very dry, so I will probably watch a recapped version of it just to understand. Like last year, they showed like 2 hours of Breath of the Wild, and I don't have the time for it, so I'll probably watch a recap version of it, but I will be putting a video up for that. Thanks so much. Peace out.